Hi everyone, my name is Maddie, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video which is going to be my slightly late June wrap up. Sorry if I'm looking a bit of a mess, I've just finished work for the day, we're filming straight away because it's the only time I have to film. So, we're going straight into it. June. June was a pretty alright reading month, to be honest. It started really strong, it then took an absolute dive off a cliff, but then we ended relatively strong. Basically, I read 4 books in the first week, and then I read 1 book for the rest of the month, but I did read a hell of a lot of graphic novels and manga. So overall, I read a lot. It was whatever-thon, whatever you want-a-thon, the readathon I hosted, which I slightly failed to host because I was so busy, but that was going on. Okay, the light is not being good right now. If the lighting changes, ignore me. It was a good month. I was rubbish at hosting because I was so busy and I also couldn't read very much, but my goal for the month was 12 books to reach deity status, and I can very happily say I did read 12 books. This is the stack of books I read, which I am pretty darned proud of, I'm not gonna lie. And there were definitely some really great reads and it was overall pretty good. But we'll go into it one by one, as you always do, but let's very quickly start off with some stats and then we'll go through reviews. I'm gonna try and do this pretty snappy, pretty quick today, especially because I have like lots of volumes of the same thing, so I'll probably club them all together. We're just gonna get through it all. So, stats, total number of books, 12 books. Again, very happy with that. And then this does bring my goal to the year to 66 out of 101, so still kind of on track for hitting that. I'm slightly concerned because it requires me to read, what, 34, 35 more books, and I've got, what, July, August, September, 6 months. Oh my god, I've got 6 months. So that would work out at like, I can't do the maths on that. So that works out at 5 to 6 books a month, which isn't not doable, but it's quite a lot considering how much I'm reading at the moment. But I think it's doable. I think that's a good stretch goal amount for me, doing that many a month at the moment. So I'm happy with that. Hopefully I'll get there. The total number of pages I read in June was 3,485, which is very high for me and brings my average to 116 pages a day, way past my goal of 100 a day. Very happy with that. And an average book length of 290 pages. So a little bit short, but again, lots of graphic novels, that will be why. In terms of age range, it was a little bit different. I did only have 2 adult books this month. I had 5, which I'm going to class as like new adult, probably adult. I don't really know, they're kind of in betweeny. And then I did have 5 YAs, so a bit younger than normal, but it's fine by me. Then in terms of genre, I had 4 sci-fi books somehow. Some are kind of like questionable sci-fi, but we're classing it. And then 8 contemporary books, so that's pretty good by me. More contemporary than normal, but I'm perfectly happy with that. And then rating, I had 4 5-star reads, 7 4-star reads, and then a 2-star. But we will get to that in just a minute. So let's start going through the books. Up first, we have Some Girls Do by Jennifer Duggan. This was a 4-star read for me, it wasn't quite a 5. For anyone who knows, Jennifer Duggan is one of my all-time favourite authors. YA Contemporary is what she primarily writes, and oh my god, I love her books. Hot Dog Girl and Verona Comics were both 5-star reads for me. This was still phenomenal, but just didn't quite hit into that 5-star category for me. Not sure why, but it was really good. This follows 2 girls, one of whom is a track star, and the other is like a pageant queen and also a car mechanic. And it's the 2 of them finding their way. One is openly out, the other, I think, thinks they're straight and is like coming to terms with their sexuality and what that means for their family and all of this. It's just really great. It is signature Jennifer Duggan in the way that all the characters are kind of bad people and do really bad things, and that's why I love these books. No one is a perfect character, everyone messes up, they're teenagers, they're messy, that's why I love these books so much. This did that beautifully, the relationship was adorable, big fan, really good. Not quite a 5-star, but still a bloody good book that I would highly recommend. Next up, I read Heartstopper Volume 4. I don't have a huge amount to add to this. This was, of course, 5 stars. I love these books so much. I love these characters so much. Alice Oseman has just created the most amazing thing with Heartstopper, and I truly adore it. I love them so much, and I really liked this volume. A lot of people have said they haven't liked it quite as much because it's much more serious than previous volumes, but I actually loved it for that. And there are some adorable moments, there are some hard-hitting moments, there are some absolutely hilarious moments, especially towards the end. I'm a big fan, I really loved this. I don't know if it's my favourite volume so far. Possibly? I don't remember. I really do love Volume 3. I don't know, I love them all. They're really cute. If you want cute art style graphic novel, this is the kind of thing you should be going for. This is also free to read on Tapas and Webtoon if you want to, and all the proceeds that Alice Oseman gets from that goes to a different LGBT charity every month. But you can also buy the physical copies in both the UK and the US. I think the US there are a few volumes behind at the moment, but it's amazing. Volume 5 is the last one. We don't know when we're getting it yet because Alice Oseman is still writing it, which is completely understandable. But it's brilliant and I love it and I cannot wait. Next up, I did read an arc, and that was Jay's Gay Agenda by Jason June. I love this book. This was a 4-star again, not quite a 5, but not far off. I really enjoyed this. This was sent to me by Harper360 in exchange for a review, so thank you to them for sending it to me. Oh, I love this book. I really do. This follows Jay, whose family are moving to Seattle in like his senior year, I think, possibly junior year of school. It's the beginning of his senior year, and they've just moved to Seattle, and he's come from like a really small town where he is out, but he's like the only out guy. And so coming to Seattle, he's like, oh my god, there's other gay people, I'm sorted. And he has this list of things he wants to achieve, and he feels like being in Seattle is going to make him be able to do that. So it's things like having a boyfriend and getting with someone and all of this, and it was amazing. Yes, there are a few things in this which I think were a little bit young. I did appreciate seeing characters verging on that 17, 18 age, and a very sex positive book, which I hugely appreciate always. But a couple, like, I guess writing style things which I didn't necessarily vibe with, but overall it was really good fun. I loved all the characters in this. Albert is just the best character ever. I loved him. Jay slightly annoyed me, but he's kind of meant to. Again, messy teenagers being messy. It's what I love. And his lists. I loved the lists because I have had lists not dissimilar to these lists, and that is how I function as a human. My life is ruled by to-do lists. So I loved it. I related to Jay in so many ways, and it was just good fun. It's a really fun, quick YA contemporary, which I would highly recommend. Next, we have Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. I have been anticipating this book for a really long time, and it was on like my most anticipated releases of the year list. I've been really looking forward to it, and I gave it 2 stars. So that went well. Yeah, I was not a fan of this book, unfortunately. I really wanted to love it. I just found it incredibly slow and incredibly boring. Yeah, it's just, I've said before that I don't necessarily get on with political things, and I think that is becoming more and more true, and I'm reminding myself of that with books like this, where to be fair, I think it was slightly mismarketed. People did say it was political, but it's also very much sold as like sci-fi with romance, and the romance felt like such a non-thing. It was just these 2 characters who wouldn't speak to each other, were annoying me because they wouldn't speak to each other, and if they'd had one conversation, the first 200 pages of the book could have happened in about 10. And then it's just a whole load of politics, and a lot of politics for a 400-page standalone that I felt like didn't get the explanation it needed and the world building it needed to back it up, and therefore I ended up not caring for the politics, and there wasn't much romance going on, and then I kind of cared about nothing. There was one really good scene in the middle of this book that gave me a load of hope for the romance, and then it dropped off again. So yes, cool characters, decent romance, but it just wasn't a big enough part of the plot for me to care about this book in pretty much any way, shape or form. I am going to be doing a live show, I think, for this at some point soon, and if it wasn't for that, I probably would have DNF'd it. It didn't do a lot for me. I was quite bored. It's really sad. I wanted to love it so much. Maybe one day if I get more into political things, I'll give this another go, but it wasn't it for me this time. Next up, I did reread a favourite. I reread The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune. This was my Patreon book club pick for June. I know what month we're on, and the sequel Flashfire actually comes out today when I'm filming this, and hopefully the day before you're seeing this. You should see this tomorrow. I love this book. I really do. This follows, oh my god, what's our name? Main character's name? Nick. Nick is the main character's name. God. This follows Nick, who is obsessed with extraordinaries, which are basically superheroes that have cropped up out of nowhere, and he's obsessed with them, especially one who he's utterly in love with. Not that he's ever met them, but he writes fan fiction about them and all of that. And he basically decides that he needs to become an extraordinary, and he does all these crazy things, and he's struggling with a lot of things, and it's him and it's all his friends, and it's really interesting. And again, messy teenagers being messy. But it's also really wholesome. Nick's relationship with his dad is really sweet, and the characters are really interesting, and there's a lot of discussions going on. Nick also has ADHD, and I really appreciate the rep in that, and it's just, I love it. I love it so much, and it's so good, and it's so wholesome, and it's so funny, and I cannot wait to read the sequel, because this leaves on one hell of a cliffhanger, and I need to know where we're going next. Next up, just very quickly, Saga Volume 9. I've been reading Saga for what feels like a very long time now, and I'm finally up to date. They're on hiatus. We don't know when Volume 10 is coming. I'm hoping it's soon, because they're not allowed to end the series like this. This was a 4. It didn't quite make it to a 5. I thought it might, because everyone's been saying like, oh my god, you're going to be broken by the end. It's so sad, it's so this or whatever. I feel like I was anticipating it so much because so many people had said that it made it a 4 still. Though I do agree, I don't know how they think they're ending this book like this. Like, I'm not having it. I don't think anyone's gonna have it. Like, I don't know how they're going to undo it, but they need to. But anyway, this is a very, very good adult sci-fi graphic novel series which follows a man and a woman from 2 different races who get together, get married, have a child, but their races are at war with each other, and so they are considered betraying both sides by doing this, and they kind of become enemy number 1. And it's their life and their journey and their kids' journey, and it goes through this huge span of years, and it's really interesting, and it has so many political things in it and kind of interesting current world topics thrown into this and discussed in this kind of way. It's just really cool. I really like it. The art style's awesome. The characters are great. Would highly recommend if you are prepared to wait for Volume 10 and be hurt like the rest of us. The next 5 books I'm going to kind of pretty much talk about in one go, because that is I Hear the Sunspot, Volumes 1 through 5. I did read all of these back to back because I kind of loved them. Just very quickly for ratings, I gave the first book and the 5th book 5 stars, and I gave the middle 3 4 stars. So yes. Oh, okay, right. We're going to just hold up the first one because they're kind of chunky and heavy. Actually, I'm going to quickly go through them because the covers are stunning. But first one, this was my favourite. I laughed, I cried, I squealed, like it's so good. Very quick overview, it's following these 2 guys who are at college, and one of them has, he's hard of hearing, and because of this needs a note taker in school to help like him keep up with the classes, and the other guy becomes his note taker, and then they kind of, you know, it gets cute, they fall in love. It's really freaking adorable. They are the most hilariously different characters, and seeing both of their growth throughout the books is really cool. And just, I love it a whole lot. I hadn't read manga in a long time, so reading backwards was interesting, though I got back into it so fast, and just, these are gorgeous little editions, and I love the illustration, and I love the characters and the plot, and the hard of hearing and deaf rep in these books is really, really cool to see, and just a big fan. It's really cute. I need more. It does wrap up if you're wanting to pick up these sort of first 5 volumes. The first one is kind of its own individual story, as is the second. The next 3 are 3 parts of one. But they are like all fully wrapped up. As with most contemporary stories, it can't really end on a cliffhanger. It's just you want to see more of the people together or whatever. So I'd happily read more, but I wouldn't be mad if there's not more. But just quickly to show you the covers and also the reading order, because I didn't know the reading order until Spoops, who recommended these to me, told me the reading order. So for anyone else looking, this is the order you read them in. So it is, firstly, I Hear the Sunspot, with a gorgeous cover. Second, you read The Theory of Happiness, which is this stunning one. And then after that is Limit Volume 1, 2, and 3. So we have Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. So yes, that is a new favourite series for me. I absolutely loved them. I now want to read a whole load more manga. I just absolutely fell in love with the genre. My worry is that most mangas have a lot more than 5 volumes, and they get very expensive very fast. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to get back into it. But if anyone has any specifically short manga series recommendations, especially if they're LGBT or romance or honestly anything, but probably not fantasy, but I don't know, I'd give it a go, please let me know. I'm really up for trying more and would be very, very intrigued to read some more, so recommendations, leave them below. And then we're on to the final book. I've really whizzed through these. I said I was going to make it short and snappy, and that is Skyward Volume 2. I did intend to read The Queen of Eoflaria, but I didn't have time and I had to get to my 12 books, so I bunged on another graphic novel. As I said, I did not have a lot of time to read in June, so I was just reading whatever I felt like, and something like a graphic novel that's really quick to get through and then you still get the sense of accomplishment was exactly what I needed. I did not have the mental headspace for long books, and anything that would take more than about an hour to read, because there just wasn't time or motivation for that in June. So I read Skyward Volume 2. This was also a 4-star for me. I loved the first volume in this series and I loved this one. Very intrigued to read the third and final one probably pretty soon. This follows a world where gravity no longer exists. Basically, there was a day when gravity was no longer a thing and the world has learned to adapt to it and have technology and stuff to make living possible. And it's really, really interesting. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of like conspiracy theories and kind of behind the scenes stuff going on. My camera may have been blurry for the previous clip. If it was, I apologise. But it's a really interesting series. It follows a really interesting cast of characters. I quite appreciate that it's only 3 volumes long. I think that's quite nice and quite different, and I feel like we're getting into the story really significantly in volume 2. I'm intrigued to see how they're going to wrap everything up in one more volume, but I trust that they will. I know Jade from Jade Reads recommends this series a lot, so I'm trusting that she is right and that it will wrap up well. But yes, very good graphic novel sci-fi series if you're interested in a much shorter one. So I won't pick up the stack again, but those are the 12 books I did read in June. Why do I not know what month it is? And yes, it was overall a really good reading month. I had so much fun with whatever-thon, even though I wasn't taking part or hosting that much. I was, you know, seeing what everyone else was up to and watching people's vlogs and just having a really good time with it. So thank you again to everyone who participated. It should be coming back at some point before the end of 2021 for like a short version, and then hopefully, assuming nothing goes wrong between now and then, or that I don't stop booktube, who even knows, it should come back again in June, ideally, of 2022 for what, round 2. Don't ask me what it's going to be like and what the prompt's going to be and if it's going to be the same or different or hosts or whatever, because I have no idea. I've made no attempts at starting to plan it yet. I'm just hoping to do it again next year. But that is my reading for June. I had a good month. I'm very proud of getting through 12 books, even if they were graphic novels, because I did not think I was going to read anything like that much. And it really got me back into wanting to read and set me on the right track for July, which is really exciting. And if you couldn't tell from this stack, I'm in a complete fantasy slump. I just don't want to pick up fantasy at the moment, but this got me back into really wanting to read contemporary. So that's really exciting and gives me a lot more options for what to read at the moment, because I don't feel like I have to be reading fantasy. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below how your reading went in June. I would love to know, as always. And did you take part in whatever-thon? Did you achieve your goals? Let me know. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. There are links down below in the description to all of my other social media, as well as my Amazon wishlist and my Patreon if you are interested in any of that. But that is it for the video. Bye, and I'll see you in the next one.